The country is still clearing up the aftermath of Storm Isha, which caused widespread destruction and travel chaos across Britain as the UK braces for storm disruption overnight and strike disruption next week. We are joined by the Transport Minister, Huw Merriman. Very good morning to you.
Morning.
We first want to just address different kind of strike action, and that's the further strikes against the Houthis. We understand this morning that you are insisting that you briefed the opposition on this. Is that the case?
Well, I'm told that the Leader of the Opposition and indeed the Speaker were informed. So that's the insurance I've been given.
This is a bit confusing because not only do the newspapers say that the Speaker and the Leader of the Opposition were not informed, but GMB understands that they weren't informed. So can we just ask, who told you they were informed?
Well,
because it wasn't you.
No, of course, because I wasn't there. I'm not a member of the Cabinet, and I wasn't involved in those discussions. But all I can tell you, Ed, is exactly as I've been told, that they were informed. So I think you should get more clarification through as the day goes on. The Prime Minister will be at the dispatch box, as he was after the first strikes, to account to Parliament. So that will occur today as well.
It seems pretty remarkable for a massive event like this of our international security, and the government insists that they had given advance notice to very key figures in our national politics, and those key figures, or sources close to them, say we had no idea.
Well, as I say, I can only pass on what I've been told, which is that I was informed that the Leader of the Opposition had been informed in the same way that he was when the first strikes were being put together. So that's the information I can convey over to you.
Someone's not telling the truth here.
Well, look, we're in the danger of shooting the messenger here because poor Mr Merriman wasn't the person whose job it was to inform the Leader of the Opposition.
No, but poor Mr Merriman is out on behalf of the government, so poor Mr Merriman has to answer the questions.
Well, maybe,
sorry, Mr Merriman.
Maybe poor Mr Merriman should tell us who told him. Was it his press officer? Was it his department? Or was it number 10 who told you? Just so we can clear this up.
Ed, as you know from your role in the past, that we always speak to number 10 before we go and do the morning round. And so those were the conversations I had. And that was what I was told. So yeah, you were right. I am the messenger in this regard because I'm not the person inside number 10. But I'm happy to convey that information to you.
I also know from my time in government that it would be very, very unusual for there to be a military strike without the Speaker and the Leader of the Opposition being fully informed, because not least, given that you're not asking for the support of Parliament, it would be normal, wouldn't it, to have told the opposition in advance? I mean, that would be normal.
Well, it's certainly the position when the first strikes were being put together to ensure that the Leader of the Opposition and the Speaker were informed as to what was about to occur. So that had sort of set that particular tone. So, and again, we'll follow the same precedent in terms of the Prime Minister appearing before Parliament to take questions from MPs, which he will do today, as he did for a number of hours immediately after the first wave.
OK, so it seems there's a whole lot of confusion. It's not your area, even though you're out on behalf of the government. Let's focus on your area. Rail strikes. More ASLEF strikes loom. Can you believe that you are the minister in charge and it is now entering its third year? A dispute between the Train Drivers' Union and 14 train operators in England enters its third year with no settlement in sight. Have you met with Mick Whelan of ASLEF since, on the December the 1st last year, he said, we haven't had a meeting with you, Huw Merriman, since January last year. Have you met him?
No, I've not met Mick Whelan. Obviously, the train operators who are responsible, they're the employers, have conversations with ASLEF. Where we've got stuck is that there is an offer that's down on the table, but that offer has not been taken from the table by ASLEF and put to members. So it's a very difficult situation for us. It's incredibly frustrating, not least because we've managed to take industrial action off from 3 other unions who'd been involved. So that part has moved on, and we're still where we are with ASLEF. But it's not as if an offer hasn't been made. A fair and reasonable offer has been. It's just not being passed on from the union leadership to their members.
As the rail minister, why wouldn't you get into a room with the leader of that union and hammer this out? Because train passengers can't put up with more strikes.
Look, my door is always open to those that wish to come and meet with me. I've always talked to the unions in my previous role where I chaired the Transport Select Committee, so I have, positive enough relations.
So you've invited Mick Whelan of ASLEF to come and talk to you?
No, what I mean is that I've not had any request to sit down with Mick Whelan and do that. So we haven't had further conversations, and to a certain extent, that's not a surprise.
So you're saying that Mick Whelan is refusing, so the ASLEF union leader is refusing to meet with you? No,
what I'm saying is that I have not been asked to sit down with him. What we have done, and we were asked to come up with an offer so that an offer could be made and could be discussed. That offer has indeed been put down, so we've played our part in facilitating a fair and reasonable offer. That offer has been made by the train operators, but it's not been passed on to the members to have a vote on in the same way that it was with the other unions who have taken industrial action off the table because their members voted in favour of taking the industrial action off. So it's a difficult one for us. Of course, if we'd not made an offer, I could understand the demand to sit down and work out an offer that could be made, but we've done that. It just hasn't been put to the members.
But Mr Merriman, if your door is always open, why don't you ask for the meeting or offer the meeting rather than sitting there waiting? Because actually, as the government minister, I mean, isn't it your job to sort this out?
So there was quite a lot of talk about let's sit down and get an offer that can be put down because no offer's been forthcoming. We did just that. So we moved straight towards let's put an offer together, which we believe is fair and reasonable. And let me give you the numbers, then you can see for yourself, or your viewers can. The average train driver pay for a 35-hour, 4-day week is currently just short of £60,000. This offer would take it to £65,000. So we believe that is fair, it's generous, but we also have to protect the taxpayer and also ensure that our plan to halve inflation, which is working right now, is not put in jeopardy by double-digit pay offers. So we've done that part. Now I believe it's down to the unions to respond, to put it to their members, and let's see if they accept it.
Just one final question, Mr Merriman, because I know you need to go. You were just there saying that inflation's been halved. Can you just tell us what inflation's come down to on the latest number?
Well, of course, it's just slightly gone up above 4%, but we'd halved it from the 11% as it was in October 2022 to 4%. It's just dipped up a bit because of alcohol and cigarette increases. So, it's not always a straight line, but that was a commitment. We said we'd halve it, and we have halved it.
And what are you going to raise train fare prices by in April?
So, as you know from your role in government, the indication is always from July from the previous year. That would have been 9% increases in passenger fares. We deem that too high, so the figure will be 4.9%. So the UK taxpayer will continue to subsidise a part of it, and the rail passenger will pay less than it would have done if we'd used that 9%.
So inflation's at 4% and expected to fall, and rail prices are going up by 4.9%. So it's actually a real terms rise in a few months' time for rail users. I just wonder whether, if inflation's coming down, why can't rail users see some of the benefits?
Well, they will see the benefits from the rail sale that we're announcing today, where 1 million tickets will be available at 50%. So there's a great bargain to be had, and I hope people will take it. But as you know, we have to set the inflation benchmark from the previous year. That's always been the case. Actually, the rail fares used to come in January, in which case it would have been in already. But we've delayed it until March, again, to give people extra time to be protected from the increases. We've invested £100 billion in rail since 2010, but we've had the taxpayer in the last financial year putting in £12 billion of subsidy. That's £420 per household. So it's only fair that we balance between the rail passenger and the UK taxpayer who may not use the railways, and that's what we've tried to do with this increase.
Just before we let you go, the strikes have cost more than £1 billion so far. You acknowledged when asked that would easily be enough money to have solved the rail dispute months ago, wouldn't it?
So I made the point that you wouldn't have got any reform. And if we just put any figure on it just to solve the disputes, then that would have contagion and knock-on effect, and we wouldn't be able to deliver our plan of halving inflation. So I made it quite clear that you can't just look at the economics. You have to look at the whole picture of inflation and government pay awards in the round. And I do believe an increase from £60,000 to £65,000 is fair and reasonable in these circumstances. And my hope is that the ASLEF union will put that offer to their members. And if their members are like the other railway union members who've taken industrial action off, then this will go as well. And we can focus on growing the railway rather than trying to shut it down, which is what Labour seem to be endorsing from the unions.
Huw Merriman, not sure where we got with that, but the doors are open. Thank you very much indeed. Meanwhile, Mick Whelan says we're calling on the government to let the companies come back to the table and make our members a sensible offer with no strings attached. 3 years of strikes and £1 billion in cost.